the back, the VOD and the silver screen. Kevin and Tom and Joe know all there is to know, from masterpieces to deep fried tacos. And if the movie sucks, you might hear them say, there's no telling where the guys will take you. Get ready for a spoiler. Won't say it twice, cause we already warned you. Better watch out, it's gonna ruin the plot. Real spoilers. Real spoilers. Real spoilers.
Broadcasting from the lush but not lavish studios located in the basement of Keefe Institute for Advanced Film Marketing. This is Real Spoilers 48, the next Karate Kid. Legends. Sorry.
A lot of
I want
iterations
to
of
get
this
right.
movie.
There have been a lot of iterations. So I guess let's go around the virtual table and everyone can say where to find them. Or no, that's the end of the show. We're done. Thanks. Let's go around the virtual table.
Bye.
And everyone can introduce themselves.
This is Joe.
This is Kevin.
And this is Tom. We're doing a virtual one this week because I'm going to be out of town. So
Somebody
I
wants
don't
to take
have,
a
I only have
hacker
this
and-
one episode this way instead of like you just went out of town.
I didn't.
Yeah, that's your fault.
Oh, February seems like a long time ago.
No, and didn't you were just for like a 3-day weekend
Me?
not that long ago, right? Yeah,
No.
you went to a cabin or something.
Oh, I did. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's true.
So shut up. So before we dig in, let's do these plugs. Don't forget we're available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeart, TuneIn, wherever you find a podcast, you can find us. While you're there, be sure and follow us so you never miss an episode. Leave us a review. That is super helpful and greatly appreciated. You can also find us on Facebook. Facebook.com/theclipout. While you're there, like the page, join the group. The group is called the League of Show Sharers because we are hoping you will share an episode. Kevin had the foresight to edit this week's episode early and post it like almost a full week early so we could collect show sharers and still read your names while we record, because we're recording like what, 5 days early, something like that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, very early. I was like, you know what? This thing, we have to see this movie and record it early. I'm getting this thing out, and I don't want two of them on my plate. You know how stressful that is?
No, that's, oh my God, I can't even imagine, and I'm glad that I can't imagine.
Yeah.
That's why, let's make Crystal do the editing on the other show. So, so anyway, people who were kind enough in an episode last week include Jason McLean, Ralph Tribble, Brendan McGuckin, Richard Krotzer, Tom Dowdy, Julianne Jordan, Travis Tewitt, Gabriel Lugo, Chris Magic Man, Taylor Ward, Heather Sachs, Cinema Recall, Ken Holtzhauser, Dissect That Film, Edit Photo Gamer, James Install, Nostalgia Cast, In Session Film, Geek to Me Radio, and Mike. So thank you so much for sharing an episode. It is,
Kidding me.
uh-oh.
Of all,
What
like
happened?
it's 5 o'clock and people have just decided that, like, I have my windows open. It's the springtime in St. Louis, and somebody just started up a goddamn
Gunshots?
lawnmower outside. It sounds like it's far enough.
You know
away,
what?
but, like, mother.
Hey, here's the thing. Here's the thing. Your lawnmowers on Mark Maron's podcast all the time. So
Okay, we're in good company then.
if Mark Maron, so we use the same microphones that Mark
That's
Maron
right.
does. So now we've got the same
Same
lawnmower that Mark
stupid.
Maron has, so
Look, I'm happy they're cutting the lawn, but come on.
yeah, that's always nice.
Yeah.
So, so anyway, also don't forget we have a Patreon, patreon.com/real spoilers, where for $5 a month you get all sorts of bonus content, and we like you extra. And of course, you can watch all of these over on the YouTube. So even if you don't, you should, just to jack up our numbers. And
Yeah,
while you're there,
please.
maybe don't hit the subscribe button. You have to smash it.
That's right.
like they do on Shore. So you use your penis. So
I told you, whatever presses that button, it doesn't matter. we
hell,
don't
we
have
care.
to see it.
Or your vagina.
Whatever.
Don't
yeah.
care. Don't care.
Yes. Yeah.
Press the
Don't
button.
care.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So anyway, there's that. Let's dig into Karate Kid Legends.
So I have not watched Cobra Kai. I know that it is wildly
you were-
popular.
Missing out on some top-notch cheese. Like, I can't tell you how many times we get done watching a show with Crystal, and I'm like, someone needs to do a PhD level dissertation on Cobra Kai to explain to me how this show can be so bad and yet so enjoyable.
I think
because
I mean, from that
the
description,
critic
it's
in me
almost
is
like a soap opera, right? Like
I mean, it is, and like the critic in me, I'm watching these shows and I'm like, this is not good, but god damn it, I love it.
I
It's
remember
so fun.
I broke my ankle when I was in like 7th or 8th grade, and it was bad enough that like I couldn't walk on it. Like I broke it bad enough that like you just got to stay off of it for X amount of time. And I started, after a while, you're just home during the day, so you just start watching what's on TV.
Price is Right ends.
Oh my god! Well, I started
Yeah.
watching Days of Our Lives, and when I started watching it, there was a whole, that those soap operas have like an A plot, B plot, C plot, and they just kind of rotate
Right.
throughout, right? One of the plots was one of the characters was possessed by a demon, and I was like,
Oh,
they
I
have
remember that
possessions
time.
on this show? Like, I'm in.
Yeah.
And then I was in. And then I was like, well,
That's how Dark Shadows happened. Because for like the first 2 seasons of Dark Shadows, it's just a straight up soap opera.
right.
And then at some point, somebody's like, man, what if there's a vampire? And then it just,
Well, and then
and
you're
it just
invested in
all hell broke
in
loose.
Sammy and like her relationship with her sister and their evil dad Stefano and all this
Oh,
other
I
stuff.
smell a new Patreon series.
I would go back
The
and
whole
rewatch
Days
it.
of
The
Our
only
Lives.
reason
you
is
would go
because
back and watch it every day for
well,
45
it's all,
years.
Yeah, that's true.
And well, so you do the main show about Days of Our Lives, and then I think you do the Patreon about when it was a radio
There
show.
has to be a podcast out there about it.
No,
Either way,
no doubt.
Jensen Ackles shows up on Days of Our Lives.
A lot of people started on soap operas, didn't they?
You
Like-
see him later. He
And
was
Warren Beatty started on
yeah.
one.
You see him on he was on Smallville, and then obviously he gets to Supernatural, and he takes off. Has a pretty successful career post Supernatural, but Cobra Kai does give that vibe of like
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Wait,
Absolutely.
what's his successful career post Supernatural?
so he did The Boys.
Going to comic book conventions.
I mean that's what it is though. Like
I
he's
know
got
he was in The Boys, but
he's
I'm
in The
just saying,
Boys.
like-
He's had a few like TV shows that I don't know that have made it past season 1.
Okay.
But he's still working. He's the voice of Batman in the DC animated stuff.
I'm not saying he's not a working actor. I'm not saying that he doesn't make bank on residuals from, syndication of whatever CW networks or whatever. I'm just saying I haven't seen him show up in a lot of like mainstream movies that I
No,
can
I don't think
remember.
he was. So he was in the remake of My Bloody Valentine.
Okay.
Like they picked it, and then Jared Padalecki was in the remake of Friday the 13th.
Oh, that's
So like
funny.
they were trying to like break out
Yeah.
of the WB mold, but then they were doing like WB style movies that had like the WB cast. And then they just went back to TV and did 17 seasons of Supernatural.
No, I mean, seriously, those guys, like, they could do Comic-Cons for the rest of their lives.
Oh, absolutely.
And never have to worry about one bill or one. I mean, they have a huge following from that show.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
that's all they
He was
need,
almost
really.
Captain America. Jensen Ackles
They
was like
take
in
the-
the top 3 for Captain America.
they take their car to Comic-Cons and people get pictures. And it's like, I've seen it. Like, I've never watched Supernatural, and now I never will because it's like 12 seasons, and that's just too much.
It's a
That's
lot.
just too much, and especially for an hour-long
Yeah.
show. But like their car, it's just like a Pontiac. Like it's not even like a looking car like the Batmobile or
It's like a
something.
black,
No, look at-
like a
look at
Challenger.
the,
I think it's a
uh,
black Challenger.
Like the Evil Dead car.
Okay,
though.
yeah.
The Evil Dead car is just a car. Like,
Yeah.
people love that car, though.
It's wild. I mean, and like you said,
Is that the one that he puts in all his movies?
Yeah.
Yeah,
All
yeah.
the movies, yeah.
Yeah.
but yeah, Cobra. Cobra Kai. As a kid, I grew up on the first Karate Kid. I don't really care. So I remember seeing the 4th one in theaters and being like, "This is dumb."
Girl one.
Yeah, because it's a girl. But it was also just kind of
That
like,
one's
girl.
good. That
Is it
one's good.
good?
I watched it with Katie because she grew up. That was her first Karate Kid movie she saw, and I had never seen it. And like, it's solid. It's fun.
okay.
It's just like that franchise felt a million years old by the time they made
Sure.
that one. And which is funny because it was only 10 years old. Like, it started in 84, and the next Karate Kid, which is the Hilary Swank one, and Walton Goggins,
Oh,
came out in, I think, 94, right?
Yeah,
so it's like
probably.
it's only been 10 it's only been 10 years, which is like basically the same age that the MCU is, right? The MCU is not
that's
much older
true.
than 10. But it's just like 84 to 94 when the next Karate, because I mean, I remember when the movie came out, I was 84.
Now,
And
wait,
it was
hold on.
like-
the MCU started in 2008. That's 18.
Oh, okay.
That's a little bit longer, but
Okay, yeah, that is. I thought it was a little newer than that. So, but still, like, it doesn't. But I guess because they've never stopped.
Right.
making
Sure.
them, right. Like, but
10 years is your
but-
chance to get a new generation, right? Like, you wait a decade, and that's a whole new
that's exactly
reboot.
what that movie
just
was,
remember
though. It was 100% a reboot of,
Yeah.
you know, and
That's what every Karate Kid is, even the one that we're talking about today, right?
2 and 3
They're-
aren't really
Yeah.
reboots. Like 2 and 3 are telling the same
Yeah.
characters, the same story.
they're continuing the story.
But I just mean that they've continuously rebooted, so you get the next Karate Kid that's kind of a soft reboot,
And then there was
you
the
get
Karate Kid.
the other reboot that
Yeah,
one
yeah.
is the same story, and this one essentially it's got the same bones, it's the same structure, but this one, I will say, I feel like they made enough little changes, and I really enjoyed it.
So, like, look, this ain't Citizen Kane.
Right.
Karate
Right.
Kid
Yeah.
is like, Karate Kid's not a great movie, but it's an effective
Yes.
movie.
Yeah.
Right. Like, it's like it gets you cheering for the guy, right? And I think this one was effective as well. Like,
Yeah.
is it high art? No. Is it a flawed movie? Absolutely. It's like false advertisement.
A little bit.
Um,
A little bit. I agree with you.
Considering that the two biggest faces on the poster are in it for like 15 minutes.
Yeah,
right.
Jackie
It's a
Chan and
bait and
Ralph
switch.
Macchio are not in this movie. They are
No.
there for little tiny training montages. Like, they're
Yeah,
not.
and here's the thing: in a different movie, I think I'd have a big problem with that. However, Ben Wang is so good.
Yeah,
He's so
like,
good.
This is
yeah.
his first
I love
go,
this
right?
kid.
Like, this is his first kind of go at acting.
No, he
I'm-
was
I'm not-
in like Fresh Off the Boat or whatever that show was.
Okay. He is
but he's-
really good.
He's really good. Yeah.
He's great. And he's got such a subtle delivery. Like, he gets so many laughs, I think, that aren't on the page.
Sure.
Like, or takes a line that on the page was probably dumb and somehow makes it work. Like, there's a scene in like one of the last fights he has when he's doing the 5 boroughs, which is their version of All Valley, right?
Yeah.
And like, the guy like comes out of the gate and like clocks him in the face or something, and he's like, "Welcome to the 5 boroughs," and there's just like a beat, and he's like, "Happy to be here." Like, it's like, but like, he says it so dry,
It is.
Yeah.
like it's not like.
So he's the star of that show, American Born Chinese, which was that adaptation of the graphic novel that was on Disney
okay.
Plus.
Yeah.
With Ki-hee Kwan and Michelle Yeoh.
Yeah.
So he's the star of that. So sorry, he wasn't on the other one, but so no, he's got credits. He's done a few things, but like, this is definitely his first starring role, and I agree. He is charismatic as all get out. He is like when we saw Lily James and we were like, wow, she's charismatic. Like, he has that thing, right? He's just naturally seems very likable. He's good. He's funny. And he knows martial arts.
This
Like,
is
he
what
seems to really know. Yeah.
I did want to bring that up is, in the Karate Kid, Daniel LaRusso doesn't know how to fight, right? Like,
Right.
Miyagi's teaching him how to fight. What I think was very interesting about this is our Lee, was that his name?
Yeah.
The main character?
Who?
Don't start with me. The kid.
I think his name.
Okay.
Did I get it right? Yeah.
He fights like Jackie Chan fights. Like, his fight sequences were filmed. Jackie Chan, what people don't really remember is when Jackie Chan first started, they wanted him to be the next Bruce Lee. And Jackie Chan was like, I don't, and he leaned into that for a while because it was his foot, it got his foot in the door. What he has said is like, I wanted to be the Buster Keaton of
it's like he's really more the next Charlie Chaplin.
Yes.
Yeah.
He's like, I wanted to be the Buster
and I mean that
Keaton
as a compliment.
of
Yeah.
martial arts movies. And if you go back and watch any of his stuff, there is a level of comedic timing and physical comedy that he throws into his martial arts sequences that are
So he's very funny.
Jackie Chan's
deceptively
fight
funny.
No, I mean, Jackie Chan's fight sequences. I mean, I've been watching the guy since the 90s. Every single movie he does, his fight sequences are comedic. He puts that, like, I'm getting hurt. I'm narrowly escaping death. I'm falling off something. I'm about to, so there's an alley sequence in this movie, Karate Kid Legends, which I mean, he is fighting exactly like Jackie Chan.
Exactly
It's
like him.
The comedic, he's on a dumpster and he's like, whoa, and he's about to fall off backwards off it. It's great. It's hilarious.
I cannot recommend going back and finding movies like Police Story or Operation Condor. Police Story is kind of the
I
one.
love Drunken There's 2 Drunken Masters. They're very funny. Like he's great.
Police Story is what I think is probably his magnum opus. It has some of the most insane stunts you'll ever see. Obviously, we know that Jackie Chan has done those stunts on it, so
Oh my gosh.
I don't think
it's crazy.
I don't know that he's putting himself out there as much as he used to, but even in these, he can't.
I mean,
he can't.
Yeah, he can't.
No.
But Tom Cruise is like the American Jackie Chan, doing his own stunts, right? Like you
it's
see
only
Jackie
a matter of time before Tom Cruise remakes Police Story and tries to do the same stunts that Jackie Chan did.
And Tom Cruise is, almost a decade younger, too.
Yeah. I mean, Jackie Chan was doing this stuff. I mean, he was not a spry chicken doing, like, I don't know, Rush Hour. Like, I think people kind of forget he wasn't old I think he was probably in his 40s or late 40s, early 50s doing Rush Hour.
Yeah, because he's 71.
Stunts in them.
He's 71 now. But they were certainly stunt driven, right? Like, those early ones are like, it's all money shots.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, but I mean, you think about it, he was a star in the 90s, right? So like
he was a star in the
80s. He was really like in the 90s.
Rumble in the Bronx is the American debut of him.
That's what I mean by star. I mean American star in the 90s. He was in his 30s.
Well, and because I think his Asian stuff was probably in the 70s,
right? 70s and 80s, yeah.
They bring him over in, I think, at 81 for Cannonball.
Okay.
And then he gets reduced to a stereotype, and he's like, America can eat a bag of dicks. I'm going back to China, and doesn't come back for like a decade because he's like, I'm not going to do that.
Right.
And then he comes back finally with Rumble in the Bronx and breaks out in America.
Yeah. And Rumble in the Bronx, I remember
80s.
seeing that in theaters and being like, what this is insane.
Yeah, his stuff's great. So I love that they pay homage to Jackie Chan's comedic fighting style in this movie. They do a great job of that. But at the end of the day, this is another like soft reboot or remake of The Karate Kid. It's the same baseline story, but it's a quick like 94 minutes. It moves at a fast clip.
It moves really quick.
A kid moves into town with his mom and he's getting bullied and he has to fight and there's a girl he likes.
You know what I did like about this, though, is that
what's that?
In The Karate Kid, obviously we know that Daniel LaRusso is the good guy. But if you watch that movie with the 2025 tint, you're like, oh, he's the bad guy. He is. Like, and I'm not defending Billy Zabka, but Billy Zabka's living his life, and then Daniel LaRusso comes into town. So he steals his girl away. He, kind of humiliates him, and then he beats him in the big fight that, Billy Zabka's gonna. I'm just saying.
Okay, kids can move into town. You cannot be a dick, though.
Maybe, but he,
You've been swayed by the Cobra Kai.
No, obviously the theme of the original Karate Kid is that Daniel LaRusso is the hero of that movie. What I do like about this one, though, is they leave no doubt that Lee coming into this town, the girl in like the love interest has already broken up with the boyfriend. Right. So like it's not like
they are bending over backwards
to make sure
not create another Billy Zabka situation.
Absolutely.
Yeah, exactly.
They are like, this guy is irredeemable.
Oh, that guy
He
is the worst. Like, yeah, every single time you see the bad guy, and like credit to him for playing a great villain, but that guy is the most unlikable character possible.
The only way they could have made him worse if there was a scene where he was like beating a dog with a cat.
Right.
Like
he does kind of have in Karate Kid 3, I think Terry Silver is the villain, and Terry Silver has this look where he's got like his hair, he's got jet black hair and it's slicked back into this tight ponytail, and I'm like, this kid he has got the same look, like he's got the slick back,
this actor's name is Aramis Knight, so credit
that's
to him.
Dope ass name.
Yeah, credit to him. So he played
with a name like Aaron's Knight, like you've got to be.
You don't have a choice. You're gonna get typecast as a bad
you're
guy.
either gonna Aramis Knight. You're either gonna be a badass or a CPA. There is no middle ground.
Now, Joe,
no middle ground.
In The Dark Knight Rises, he played Kid with Apple.
Of course. Why wouldn't he?
I think we all remember Kid with Apple.
Kid with Apple.
And Ender's Game, he played Bean. So he's
Did
been
we see
around.
that? We saw that.
I think so.
Yeah.
Is that the Orson Scott
Harrison
Card
Ford,
book?
right? Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
But kudos to him though, because he plays the most irredeemable, unlikable bully. I mean, he is just like punching people for fun.
Yeah.
Like
I do want to say though, like
even
Billy
dojo.
Even Billy Zabka at the end of the first Karate Kid is like when the sensei is like sweep the leg. Yes, right. He's like, and he's like, I don't want to do that. Like, I don't want to hurt this kid.
Right.
And they're like, get
This
out there.
kid
And he's
is-
like, he's already hurt. I don't want to hurt him. And then of
This
course
kid's like, I want to.
he's like,
murder
I'm
people.
going to eat your face. Like,
Yeah.
that's where we are with this kid.
It's awful. But okay, so some
This
things
kid's like, I would like to hack into his computer and download child pornography under his name.
Right.
I'm willing to
The worst
destroy
possible
everything
human.
about his life.
He's horrible.
Yes.
Yeah, this guy is absolutely awful. But so some things that I do like about this movie though, because yes, I'm hearing a lot of people saying like, oh my gosh, it's just the same thing over and over. And while the bones of the film.
It's a Karate Kid movie.
Right.
It's what
Like,
they do, right?
well,
like, so the structure
What did
is
you
there.
want?
but I will say though, they do some really interesting things. So there is this subplot about the reason why they're moving to this new town is that the brother of the main character dies. He is murdered after a like in Hong Kong in the martial arts tournament that he's in. Someone gets mad that he beat him. They knife him, and so we end up seeing some flashbacks. So the brother is carrying around this guilt. Our main character Li Fong is carrying around the guilt that like he couldn't save him, he couldn't help his brother. And so not only do you have that, but then also there's this other subplot of the girl that he likes. Her father owns this pizza parlor she works at, and he is training him. He was like an amateur boxer or something back in the day. He owes money to the
guy who runs the dojo.
Yeah, the head
The
of
bad
like,
dojo.
the crease of this movie. He owes money to the bad guy that runs that dojo, and so he actually is training him to go to a fight to try to make money to pay them off. So like, there's some new stuff that they haven't done yet in a Karate Kid movie. I thought made it interesting.
I think the best thing they do is the way they flip the script, and like Lee ends up teaching his girlfriend's dad to box, like giving him new ways to box. So it's like the Karate Kid is the teacher.
Right? That's what I'm saying.
Like I thought, like that was a clever way to flip that, and so I thought that was smart. I think, I feel like ultimately the biggest problem this movie has is twofold. Is like it reminded me of How I Met Your Mother, in that How I Met Your Mother builds the whole thing around like how are Ted and Robin gonna get together, and the mother is ancillary, but everything's structured around the mother, right? She's the title of the show. And then they introduced the mother finally in the last season, right? And the problem that they had was she was adorable. She was insanely likable. And all of a sudden, like you didn't care that much if Ted and Robin got together because the mother's great. And like that's really, you can't build a show towards that, because if you don't perfectly cast that role, everyone's gonna feel slighted, right? Like if it's The Office, you can't in the last season go, Jim meets somebody better than Pam.
Jim,
Right.
I gotta tell you,
you-
Jim
like-
did meet somebody better than Pam, and she left the show in season 4.
Yes,
Yeah.
Rashida
Yeah.
is great. Yeah, but but so like this movie, it's like its reason for existence is to merge the two franchises of Jackie Chan's Karate Kid, which was actually a really solid movie, and Ralph Macchio's Karate Kid, and like by the time they kind of get to that part, I'm like, I kind of don't care anymore. Like, I like this kid. Like, I'm cool with this story. I don't necessarily need active tissue, but now they kind of got to do it. And this movie's runtime is 94 minutes. And it's funny. I feel like the last 2 or 3 weeks I've complained about these movies being too long. This one, by the time it gets the last 25 minutes of this movie, it plays like a trailer for this movie.
Yeah, it moves very fast.
They're through story beats so fast.
I know. I turned to Joe during the movie. We all saw it together at a screening, and I said, like, man, they are wasting no time. They are at the Five Boroughs tournament.
Yeah,
they are fighting
right.
one after another. Like, and the thing is, this kid is so likable that you want to spend more time with him. He's like his interactions with the girl, his fighting,
his whole
and helping
little,
the dad.
little
and the
crew.
girl was the girl's great too. Like, I thought she was.
No, she is. It is a weird moment where you question your own age when Joshua Jackson is like the old man who has retired from boxing and is like, I'm gonna knock out one more fight. I was like, Joshua Jackson, like,
man, I didn't even realize who that was, but I'm like, he looks familiar.
Yeah, it's Joshua Jackson. Like, but it is like, I think he and I don't know how old he is, but like I felt like we were the same age when I'm watching the Mighty Ducks.
Yeah.
You know, like,
isn't that crazy?
I was like, oh no,
that's wild, right?
We've reached
the old
point.
Man.
We've reached the point where
he's
people
46.
Yeah.
Okay,
so he's 3 years older than I am.
So he's the old man, and you are too,
Yeah,
Joe.
right,
That's just how age works.
It is how age works, but it is a sobering moment when you're like, oh no.
I know, but I think this movie, okay, and yes, I mean, I know we want to spend more time with this kid, and again, the actor who plays Li Fong, incredibly good, but the thing is that they have to tie these things together for, you know, the old fans, right? The people that grew up with the Karate Kid, for the people that watch Cobra Kai, and so I don't even know. I don't know that you have to watch Cobra Kai for this movie.
Not at all. Like this
does not. Does this feel like the Daniel LaRusso from that show?
I mean, he does, but the thing is on the show you see more of Daniel LaRusso in different situations. Where here, like, he really just shows up to train the kid, so you only see him in training scenes, and so you really they really didn't give themselves much of a chance to not write it correctly, and this is different than Cobra Kai. So this movie's existence is kind of weird, and I don't understand. I don't understand on this franchise that you have this television show and then a completely different creativity makes a theatrical sequel and it doesn't negate Cobra Kai, but really doesn't acknowledge its existence except the cameo. And it's a very confusing business background on this.
Yeah, that's kind of where I was. Is like, I don't, I think when Daniel LaRusso shows up on Ralph Macchio walks onto screen, I think if we don't have Cobra Kai, that reveal has a bigger impact than where we are now. And I think the reveal at the post, not really post credit sequence, but like mid credit sequence of another character has a different feel if that person, spoilers, it's William Zabka. We're just going to say, because there's no other way to get around it.
That's like, sorry, I know we just made 5 seasons of this show with you in it. We don't have a spot for you in this movie. We're going to reduce you to
a minute
please
of,
join us. But no, I didn't say that you have to watch the movies. What I'm saying is that they had the old in there. They have, they want to bring Ralph Macchio in to bridge the two of them. You've got Jackie Chan for the reboot that's in the middle of it all. So they have something for everybody. But I agree that, like, you really didn't even need that from a story perspective. Like, Li Fong Fong is a fun enough character, and the kid is so charismatic that it's like, yeah, you just kind of want to see more of that. Ben Wang is the actor's name.
Ben Wang,
He does a great job in this movie. But yeah, I mean, I really liked the depth they gave it with his brother. The mom is played by Ming-Na Wen, who I know from Street Fighter. She's Chun-Li
did you not
in
watch
Street
The
Fighter.
Mandalorian?
I watched
She's on The Mandalorian.
Yeah.
Right.
But I thought they maybe cast her because of like the fighting, like Street Fighter's.
She's also a very accomplished actress,
So-
and I think she can fight.
I think that if this makes money, I think they're setting themselves up long term and want people that can fight, because
Yeah.
girl that plays the girlfriend, I forget the girlfriend's name.
Sadie Stanley
but-
plays Mia.
Okay. So she played Kim Possible in the live action Kim Possible movie. And so
Okay.
she also knows martial arts. So the fact that she knows martial arts and they cast her in a Karate Kid movie, but they didn't have her do any martial arts, I feel like they're like hedging their bet. So if there's another one, she can do karate too. Because like if you watch Cobra Kai,
Okay.
like everybody does karate. It's
like watching the
guys,
Power
girls,
Rangers.
everybody. Yeah, and so I can't help but think that the goal at some point is to also integrate some of the Cobra Kai other characters that have only existed on Cobra Kai, because Cobra Kai has a very large cast of kids that are probably like in their early 20s now. But
Isn't that where the
that
kid from Blue Beetle came from?
yes,
Did he?
the main kid. Yeah, he's the main kid of Cobra Kai. So
Okay.
so like I gotta think that when you have all these ancillary characters who in real life know martial arts, but they're not doing it, like they gotta be hoping there's more of these, and that's gonna come.
So that's an interesting question. So since obviously Netflix has done this before, where they've gone out and found, we've talked about You, where like it had a abysmal viewership on Lifetime, probably.
Yeah,
Netflix swoops it in, picks it up, and then it explodes on Netflix
blows
and
up.
becomes like 4 or 5 seasons.
I think 6 or
There
7.
we go.
Yeah,
Cobra Kai is the same way. So
Yeah.
does Netflix have any skin in the game with this, or do they just pick up the rights to?
I didn't see a Netflix logo on it.
I didn't either, but like, how does
Yeah,
that work?
there's no
Because they're
Netflix.
using the characters from the show, or character.
that's what I'm saying. I do not understand the business behind this, of how there's a non-Cobra Kai related, like, who owns these characters that can turn around and do these other
I'm
things.
guessing
Like,
that
I-
Netflix must have the rights to television, right? Because there's different deals between movies,
Yeah, because that's
television,
the Halloween deal is kind
Yeah.
of funky like that,
right?
Yeah.
So Netflix must own the rights to make television show, and probably has the option to make more Cobra Kai shows. But they don't own the characters; they don't own the property. They just licensed it for television. So
like
now,
in today's world, what does that mean? Like, so if they made an hour and 45-minute episode, would somebody swoop in and be like, that's a movie?
That's
Like,
a good question.
what does that mean?
oh,
Like that?
yeah, who knows?
This whole idea, like, you own theatrical but not television,
Right?
but Netflix movies that some aren't. Well, like,
yeah,
like,
who
it's
knows?
like
The
Inception.
I
rights-
don't know.
I don't know, man.
Yeah, that's why you have all these different, the actors strike and all that stuff, because it's all between like,
Yeah.
are we going to make money from streaming? Are we going to make money from AI
Right.
stuff or
Well, it's-
whatever? Like,
you
it's
got to
all
think at this point with streaming, right? Let's use an actress like Mariska Hargitay, right? Like, she must have 400 plus episodes of Law and Order streaming on different platforms. So is she getting paid for each stream? Because I'm sure people stream that show all the time.
but probably not.
But
because
probably not.
Streaming didn't exist when that show
Right.
was licensed, right? And that's the whole point of the strike was
Yeah.
like, hey, you can't sell these shows for $100 million to Netflix for 3 years or whatever, and then not pay the actors because, well, it's not television and it's
That's
not
interesting
DVD.
though. That, like, what if the studio that created the program then has a streaming service, right? So NBC does SVU, Law and Order. Then Paramount comes, not Paramount, but Peacock comes into play, which is the NBC Universal streaming service. Then that goes to that service, so it's still within the company that produced the show originally.
There have been lawsuits over things like this where the production didn't work, and then they've given their streaming platform a sweetheart deal, and then I can't remember who did it, but got sued because they were like, you didn't really put this out for bid, you just sold it to yourself, wink, wink, and like you cost me, the actor, writers, the producers, money.
It's like an intercompany deal.
Yeah,
it's like you can't.
It's insider trading for TV stuff.
But it is. It's like, hey, like or it's like, oh, well, we'll sell this to our own company for $100 million and take a huge write off or whatever. Or it's like, well, you didn't.
Yeah, so back when TV was produced the way we think of traditional TV, right? Like the government stepped in and said that like TV networks could only produce a certain percentage of their hourly program, of their like primetime programming, because like they was akin to vertical integration, right? Mm-hmm. And so they would only produce certain number of programs. And so like honestly, like that was part of the problem Moonlighting had, is it became a very expensive show, but it was owned by ABC. So like ABC was actually producing the show, where like another show on ABC, like Dynasty, was produced by a company, and then they licensed Dynasty. And then when Dynasty went into syndication, the promotional company or the production company would make the revenue. Sometimes the network, if a show was like on the bubble, right, and they would be like, they wouldn't have the vested interest to keep it on there, because like it used to be you wanted a show to get to at least 100 episodes before you could put it into syndication. And so but like the network, if they didn't own the show, like if it was like barely eking out a win, they didn't care. They're like, I don't care about your syndication deal, like pound sand. And so like you would see situations sometimes where a show that was like in its third season and it's almost to 100 episodes, the production company might actually come in and like cut the cost, like actually take a pay cut to get one more season, so they had enough to put it into reruns, because they knew once it went into reruns, they're going to make the real money, because now they can sell it to like 75 cities in America, right? And so like you would see all sorts of deals going on like that, where if they owned it outright, they made all the money, and so they were incentivized to keep a show on the air. But then you had a show like Moonlighting, which was very expensive at the time. It was the most expensive show to produce on television, and keep in mind, we're making the show V at the same time, which was like special effects heavy,
big time special effects,
and like even Moonlighting cost more than V. And so they couldn't get it produced consistently. They kept having production delays, and they were on the hook for all this money, and then finally they were just like, and it had no syndication value because you couldn't syndicate hour-long dramas, so they were like, we're out.
And then he went on to do Die Hard.
And then I think he did that between the third and fourth season.
Oh, okay,
I think.
okay.
And then he was aching for that show to get canceled.
I'm sure he was.
Like, please cancel.
Yeah, he's like, I'm
show.
about to be
I'm a movie star now.
Yeah, I'm gonna
get me the hell
TV
out
show.
of here.
I will say I do like how they intertwined the worlds of this movie. So we know that Jackie Chan was in the Karate Kid, also starring Jaden Smith, and then you've got Pat Morita, who was Mr. Miyagi in the Karate Kid stuff, and we kind of find out that the Miyagis and the Hans, Jackie Chan's character is Mr. Han, like their lineage is tied together like through a backstory of centuries, where I think a Miyagi ends up like shipwrecked with the Hans, and then they kind of join together, and this is where you get the line from the trailer. It's like one tree, two branches.
Which is all retconned.
That's 100% made up for this movie.
Also,
yeah,
that's a very weak tree. I've never seen a tree with two branches. That's all. I think what we're gonna find out: one tree, two branches. Hold on, hear me out. I'm going. One tree, two branches, shared universe, Charlie Brown.
That would be wild
Yeah.
if they bring in the CG Charlie Brown.
It's Charlie Brown. It's Charlie Brown's Christmas tree is Miyagi and so there you
But
go.
I do.
You heard that for your first trademark.
Yeah, we're
Oh,
trademarking it
it's
right
gonna
now.
happen.
I'm trademarking Charlie Brown and Karate Kid.
The Charles Schultz family can suck it. That's us now. We claimed it.
The views of Joe Batista are not the views of Real Spoilers. We haven't had to say this in a while.
That's
but
true.
we
That's true.
cannot-
It's been we've
we
had
cannot account for-
You're not
kept
gonna call Charles
kept
Schultz
it in check for a while.
You're not going to call Charles Schultz a pedophile, are you?
No.
Please say no.
I mean, if it
Oh,
gets
if we
us
want the
views, it
YouTube
will.
videos,
Yeah, if it
yeah,
gets
the
us,
YouTube.
I mean, he did. I mean, like, hey, like, the guy
I'm saying.
for like 60 years.
Yeah, Bill
This
Patterson
is-
or Bill Watterson, same way. You know,
Yeah. He's also in the
that's also a wild one that has never been. That just won't
He
let
doesn't-
that one go.
He won't.
He won't. He won't let
Calvin and
anybody-
Hobbes. He won't license it.
Nope.
Yeah, it's
Nope.
crazy.
That would be
No,
if
he's-
done right. That
yeah.
would be huge.
But wait a minute, now Charles Schultz did the same thing, and he died. What 10 minutes later? The body
Yeah.
wasn't even cold, and his family's like, "We're selling it to
Yeah.
Apple."
Right. Bye.
I don't know how they got out of that because like he written it will to be like
Yeah.
no one ever and like for a while the end run was they were like, well, we're adapting existing comic strips. So like there was the first thing came out post Charles Schultz, I believe, was a direct to DVD release called Happiness is a Warm Blanket. And but it was all adaptations of blanket related Linus strips.
Oh, okay.
And so like they were like, we're not writing anything. We're literally just
Yeah.
animating pre-existing content.
That's called dipping
And
your
so-
toe in the water.
Seeing what you
Yes,
get
and,
away
like
with.
once the camel
Okay.
gets his tent and his nose under the tent,
Uh-huh.
now you got a
Now we're
camel
gonna
in your
release
tent.
Another one, which this has a lot of the stuff from the regular show. We might
Right.
make a little extended, whatever.
Yeah.
We just need to-
we just needed some connective
Yeah,
tissue.
exactly. Yeah, we just
from
needed to
story A
write
to
some
story B,
connective
like,
tissue to get us where we need to go. It's fine.
And all
it's
of a
fine.
sudden, you got an Apple series about Charlie Brown and whatever.
But I do think
Now you're like,
I do think that it's
so now we've got a Charlie Brown Punisher cross.
yeah, right.
And
I do think it's a fun way to kind of intertwine these worlds where
No, it's great. There's no complaints. This movie, for what it is, kids movie, Karate Kid movie, 10 out of 10, no notes. I mean, it is exactly what you want.
Do you think that this was so? You mentioned to me while we were watching, it's like, man,
Yeah.
they have doubled down on the Spider-Verse stuff. Like there's
it's
a lot of Spider-Verse influence into this
It's
movie,
frenetic. It's got the Scott Pilgrim versus the World
fonts and stuff.
Definitely the Spider-Verse influence of the we're going to move it like a comic strip.
Yeah.
We're going to go from frame to frame, and we're going to do the real quick cuts and everything. This is a Sony movie. Sony did Spider-Verse.
They're like, can we get Miles Morales in this movie? Can we please?
They make a Peter Parker reference. I mean, it's clear
Yeah.
as day that there was a Spider-Verse influence coming off of that movie. But again, like Tom said, it's 94 minutes long. It moves at a good clip. It's got like the base structure of everything that a Karate Kid movie is.
Yeah.
But when they threw in that extra flair, it also feels like a really like scrappy art house movie. Like this
In what
movie,
way?
well, in the way that so this budget of this movie is $45 million. $45 million with Jackie Chan, with Ralph Macchio, with an existing property that, Sony doesn't own. I mean, you got to pay people to use the characters and everything like that. So $45 million is not a lot of money this day and age with stars, with, filming some in Hong Kong, whatever. And the feel of this movie reminded me of something like a I don't know, like a 500 Days of Summer or something. Like it just had this really gritty, like street level, down to earth, like when they're riding around on the scooter. And I mean this all in a positive way. This movie did not feel like a big polished Hollywood production. It felt like a little art house movie, and I really liked that aspect of it. I liked the
I
look
don't know
of
that
it.
I'd say art house.
Well, it just, but like I made the comparison to like 500 Days of Summer. It just had this really gritty, like their romance was just
Yeah.
like really down to earth, and it did not feel polished in a way to where
Yeah.
you know, for a property like you're talking about Karate Kid, they've made 4 movies and a TV series and all this, and like they didn't throw $200 million at it. At the end of the day, it's about a kid in a karate tournament, right? Like they didn't need
Right.
to, and
Yeah.
and I appreciated that it felt like this scrappy little movie about this romance and this kid that wants to, you know, overcome some of his obstacles and beat up the bully, you know, make good with his family, and like it just, I don't know, it was a fun watch. It moved at a good pace. The sequences, the fighting sequences were really good. And I think one of the standouts is that alley scene though, with the Jackie Chan-esque comedic fighting. Like that was really fun. And so essentially, like we said, I mean, this kid moves from Hong Kong. His brother's died. His mom, Ming Na Wen, is a doctor. He moves to New York. He has to acclimate himself there. There's a bully, which is that Connor kid who's a total douche. And so he's like haunted by the death of his brother, and he gets beat up by the bully. He has to protect the girl he likes' dad that owns the pizza shop. And so he's trying to avoid fighting, but everywhere he goes, there's like, you know, his skills come in use. He wants to train the dad. He wants to protect him. And when they finds out that the dad needs money, he wants to train him. And then the dad gets hurt because the guy that owns the bad dojo, like, does some really shady crap where he tells the guy to, like, take him out. Like, he tried to basically kill him in the ring.
Yeah. He throws some elbows
like,
and won't
I
stop.
thought it was like to me a major plot hole because like the dad is the owner of the pizza parlor is doing Pacey is doing this boxing match, right, to win enough money to pay off the loan sharks and have this match, and the guy he's playing or fighting is also like he's a fighter who's, you know, owned by the guy who runs the dojo who he owes the money to, right? And he basically says ignore the rules and like this guy, and like the referee is like stops the fight, and then he like punches the referee and then punches him again while he's down, and I'm like, well, he would have won that fight then, right? Like he would have been disqualified, and he would be the winner, and he would have the money to pay this guy off.
Yeah,
like,
for sure. It would be a total disqualification. No, I agree. I thought the same exact thing because he says, I bet against you. The guy that owns the competitive douchey dojo is like, yeah, I put my money on the other guy, and then the other guy got disqualified, so he would lose all his money.
Right.
So and Pacey would have won.
Pacey would have won.
Right.
That's right.
Because the other guy would get disqualified.
Yeah,
so his money problems should have been solved.
Yeah,
you know?
I agree. That was the one thing where, again, in this type of movie, I wasn't heavily concentrating on it, but I thought the exact same thing. But so anyway, this guy gets hurt, and then basically, I really like what they did is they cut between flashbacks of him seeing his brother when he was stabbed and going to the ER, and you see like the Chinese writing, and it cuts between like, you know, emergency room and then that writing and the flashbacks. The editing was really good, I thought, in that scene. And then he like can't go in there. He's so traumatized, and like, yes, I know it's a move and you like this girl and you're just starting this relationship, but also he's traumatized. It's PTSD, and like the way that Ben Wang plays it is really, I think, believable, where he's just like, God, I can't do this. Like he has to run away because he's so freaked out by it all. But he has to fight through that. And then essentially he's dodging calls from Jackie Chan, who's been checking in on him the whole movie, and then Jackie Chan comes to visit him and is like, hey, what's up? How are you doing? And he sees that he's got this crumpled up flyer for this Five Boroughs tournament. And once he finds out that the girlfriend's dad's in the hospital, he's like, hey, you know, in our culture, like we help people. We're going to take care of people that need our help. And so he says, I'm going to train you. You've got 12 days or whatever. You're going to enter that tournament and we're going to win him the money. Like it just moves along at this really good clip where, you know, it's just one thing, boom, bam. But, you know, it keeps your interest. The fight scenes are fun. And then from here on, it's like, this is the training montage. He goes to get Ralph Macchio. He's like, hey, you know, this whole thing with the Hans and the Miyagis. He's like, you'll show up. And Ralph Macchio's like, I'm not going. And he's like, I'll see you soon.
I'll see you there.
And it's really fun. Like, you know, for as little as those two were in it with Jackie Chan and Ralph Macchio, I mean, it's good. It works. You know, it's funny.
It's just kind of, it's kind of dumb. Like he shows up to Ralph Macchio's house, and he's just like you need to come help Miyagi one, and he's like, I'm not gonna do that. And then like the next scene, okay, I'm gonna do that.
Yeah.
He gives like there's nothing that would have changed his mind. It's just like, but the script needs it, so
Yeah.
that it just.
But
happens.
it's also,
And
but there is also, I mean, for as little as I've seen, and I don't have any love for Karate Kid series. It's fine. I saw it once. Like, I don't have any love for it. But I do think there is this thing about Mr. Miyagi that's kind of like, he just had this influence over people. I feel like Jackie,
I get that, but why did it take him a week to decide that? Like, especially as someone who watched Cobra Kai, like this guy's like totally in love with Miyagi, and so it's like he would have. I feel like it should have just been him being like, "I'm in," instead of like, "Is he gonna do it?" Where it's like, yeah, he's gonna do it. His face is on the goddamn poster.
Yeah,
like, you know.
No, I totally get that. But like, as the audience, we never had a question he was going to do it. You're right. It's like, it's one comedic scene where like they wanted to play it up, but yeah, there was no question. But yeah, so he starts training on the rooftop. I guess the guy from It, you said, what was the character?
He's the child version of Stanley in It.
Isn't it crazy how when you watch kids like that or like Stranger Things, how they grow up in a few years, you're like, whoa, they've looked totally different.
Yeah, he's basically they're trying to
part
get
of
him,
being old.
Yeah, they're trying to get him to pass or do well on the ACTs
Calculus
or SATs
tests and stuff.
And he becomes this kid's tutor, and he kind of becomes his buddy. Like
he's just a quirky friend group, right? So you've got Ben, or you've got Lee, and you've got Alan is his name, that's his tutor, and the girl, and like they kind of run this tight little pack where they're studying at the pizza place. And he was really funny. I thought at first it was like, okay, this is kind of weird. Like, what is this guy doing? But when he was on the rooftop, like Ben, I keep calling him Ben, the actor's name. When Lee sets up this little like pizza date for the girlfriend. Yeah. After the whole boxing incident and all that, and then he's like playing guitar and cuts
playing
like,
I Want It That Way by
he's playing Backstreet Boys and singing along. Like, it was pretty funny. I liked that.
Yeah, no, they do a good job of setting up, giving you all of these characters and having them all have personality.
Yeah, they were all good.
And be people rather than just like a person in a movie.
And they got Donald Trump Jr. to play the dojo, the competing dojo guy,
which is just impressive. That he would allow himself.
Didn't that guy look just like Donald Trump? Like
same garbage beard. Yeah,
I feel like they were like, we need a Donald Trump Jr. type for the bad dojo guy.
I got the guy for you, straight out of Central Casting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and then obviously Lee makes his way through the five boroughs fights. Yeah. Pretty quickly.
Very quickly. I mean, it's like 10 minutes. I mean, they wrapped up.
And they
although
they
in fairness, if you go back and watch Karate Kid, they do the same thing. All of a sudden, it's just like, ding, All Valley Tournament. And you're like, what?
How did we get here?
And it's not a detriment. I mean, I'm like, didn't have to leave to go to the bathroom, didn't have to get a popcorn refill, whatever. Like, you're in and out of there. Like, the movie serves its purpose. It does not feel rushed in a way where you're like, oh, I was cheated. But to Tom's point, it's like, I like these characters. I actually could use a little bit more time if they gave it to me.
Right.
Like in a sequel, wink, wink, maybe there
depends.
would be.
I mean, at a $45 million budget, this is going to make money.
Yeah,
you would think.
And
yeah,
I don't know what else is coming out this week. I don't think
it's apparently overseas already made like $13 million. So I mean, if it opens to, it's summer just started. If it opens to 20 or 30 million or whatever, I mean, it could be doing pretty good.
Yeah, but I also think the popularity of Cobra Kai will push this kind of forward rather than it just kind of being like, oh, here comes another Karate Kid movie. Like nobody.
Well, I think that's
cares.
why you put Ralph Macchio, for as little as that character was even necessary, and for as little as he had to do it. It's like, I mean, you could have just had Jackie Chan or whoever, but it's like, that show got so popular where the fans are like, oh, we got to see him, we got to see the guy.
Right. Yeah. So we get to the final fight, and it goes exactly the way you think it. We should say that there's this kick that Lee's brother was teaching him that he just couldn't get. And when
his version of the crane kick is like the spinning dragon
which
kick.
Also, it is they don't do the crane kick, and I do feel like that's a missed opportunity.
He gave him his own thing,
He did, but
yeah,
I don't know.
You can't always go back to that,
but you should.
Joe wanted to see a crane kick.
Well, what I thought was going to happen is they basically there's a fight earlier in the movie between the villain and the hero of this movie. and he does this dragon kick, and he misses, and the villain blasts this Connor, kicks Lee in the face, and loses.
That was a good head fake. That it's like he's already seen it coming. He knows this move.
Yeah.
And then you're like, oh, that's going to come into play. And the fact that they kind of flipped the script and he's like, I'm going to do it, but I know you're expecting it.
Right,
That was good.
right. They're going to trap the tiger is basically what it is. So he's going to slide under this kick. And what I thought was going to happen is he would pop up on the other side and hit him with the crane kick.
Oh,
and
Joe was waiting for it.
That would be the...
You can't do that because you got to really like balance and like wait on the crane kick. It's about
correct.
timing.
The whole
you
crane
have
kick
to
thing
go on the dock. You have to go up on a post. The whole thing.
Yeah, it's a whole separate montage.
Right.
Yeah,
correct.
Joe, he did not do the crane kick training montage.
He did not.
You should know montages more than
I know.
anyone.
I do
You
love a good
montages.
montage. I do love a good montage. So the last, this fight is, it's a dead heat. We're tied, and he goes for the crane.
That was a packed rooftop.
There was also. I know
I'm getting old because I'm worried they're going to fall off that roof.
I'm so in work mode in that scene, and I was just like, what is even the ticket structure?
That's exactly what I was thinking.
Like,
how did you all get here? Who's
what are the
paying for
fire
what?
Yeah.
Like, what are we
Where the
doing?
emergency exits?
Right, like if there's a fire, and also like there's like the announcers where they're like, "Oh, Lee takes a sidekick to the face," and I'm just like, one, where are the announcers?
Right.
Two, who are they announcing to? Because they show the top fight in depth. There's not one camera, so like,
Who's watching this?
What? Who's watching this? Is
No,
like, are they
there's
just doing
no-
a podcast about?
No, it's very silly. I mean, in that regard. But again, like, I think of these
That's
movies,
not why you're there. Like,
But
yeah.
but I also think of Karate Kid as a kid's movie. I don't think of Karate Kid as an adult movie, right? And like that doesn't mean that adults can't enjoy it. That doesn't mean that we all can't enjoy it. And we did. But like this is a kid's movie, and to me, this was pretty much a perfect kid's movie. The length of the movie, the action, the comedy, like it has it all there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's all.
Right. No,
there.
it was-
Absolutely.
So like he works, and he's gonna like he's got this kid. He wins, and then the kid comes after him, even though the fight's over, and he like basically kicks his ass again. And what I thought was going to happen is he gets him down, and he's like can basically like deal like a death punch to it. I really thought he was going to be like honk,
Oh,
like
sure.
which is what they did in Karate Kid 2.
Yeah.
Oh,
And-
okay.
And I thought he was going to do that, and especially because there was a gag a few minutes before that where Jackie Chan and Ralph Macchio are squabbling over who taught him a certain move, and Ralph Macchio's like, I taught him that, and I thought for sure he was going to do the honk, and Ralph Macchio was going to be like, I
I taught him
definitely
that.
taught
Oh,
him
that would have been
That would
good.
have been good. That would have been very
But-
good.
So my script is better.
But yeah, so he gets the kid, and I do like, it is the whole thing about like, good sportsmanship, right? Like this guy's a jerk. He tried to attack you. You're still not going to take it out on him. Be the bigger person, help him up, that kind of thing. And I do like that the kid, as terrible as he is, and I don't know how believable this is, but this kid actually was like, oh, he didn't beat my ass. Okay. And bowed to him. And like, he was like, I respect that kind
Like,
of.
I don't know about that.
I
but
don't know that kid would have ever done that.
it's
But
nice to dream.
it is a nice little thing. I agree.
Yeah. It ends exactly how you think. The Lee wins, and everybody, the dad gets the money. The pizza parlor stays open.
They open a second location, right? They said it's a new location.
Yeah. And then
And the reason the pizza place isn't making any money is the menu. They were charging like $19 for a pizza in downtown
in New
Manhattan.
York.
Of course,
New York.
Of course, you're going out of
Yeah,
business.
right,
I saw
you
that too. I was like, a
dipshit.
large pizza. I'm like, that's what freaking Marco's across the street charges here. Like, whatever.
Yeah, like,
charge more than that, bud.
that should be like 30. Because I bought pizza in New York City like 4 months ago. I promise you, they're not $19.
No.
So we get a kind of a montage, well, not montage, but we find out that there's a pizza going to a certain delivery place, and they're like, "Are you kidding me?" Then we flash back to California, and the pizza's being delivered to Daniel LaRusso, and there's a picture in the box, and it's like this nice little moment, and then the camera pans over, and there's William Zabka in the dojo with Daniel, and Zabka's trying to like figure out a way to monetize Mr. Miyagi, and LaRusso's like, man, come on, like just it's disrespectful. So it apparently it does. I don't know. Like, this does not feel like it ties into Cobra Kai. Like, it feels like this was kind of like a.
I think this is a way to have their cake and eat it,
right.
Like, it's like they're showing you Zapka, so if you love Cobra Kai, like you still get Joey Lawrence, but or Joey Joey Lawrence is the
Blossom
singer,
guy.
Yeah, I forget
William
his name,
Zabka?
But yeah, what's the character's name?
Oh,
Totally
Johnny.
blanking on it.
Johnny.
Sweep the leg.
Johnny Lawrence.
Yeah, there you
Johnny Lawrence. And but yeah, they're trying to like have it both ways, where it kind of ties in, but not necessarily. But I will also say, if you go into this movie, like, you can totally watch this movie without seeing Cobra Kai.
Absolutely.
100%.
There's not one thing
but
that you need to.
But this scene specifically, if you have not seen Cobra Kai and you see Daniel just chilling it with Johnny Lawrence in Miyagi-Do's, you're gonna be like, what the hell is going on?
Yeah,
like,
right,
this
right,
doesn't make any sense. Like, it would be nonsensical if you haven't watched Cobra Kai. So, like, it's kind of a weird. You know, it's a great scene, and I've watched Cobra Kai, so like I'm fine with it. But like,
this
you've never
this
seen
scene
Cobra
is just as bad and cheesy as Cobra Kai. The scene is terrible. I mean, it's just an awful scene.
But it's great.
But
it's great.
It's just cheesy. It's a very silly, stupid scene.
Yeah, very
but
much
like,
so.
as someone who watches Cobra Kai, I was like, that. But I loved it. I was like, this is great, and that's exactly how Johnny is, and like that's and what he would do, especially if you've seen Cobra Kai. That's his personality, and like, if you haven't, I mean, I can't recommend it highly enough. It's big dumb fun. It's
Bring back Hilary Swank for the sequel.
I can't believe there was a perfect spot in that show where they could have brought back Hilary Swank, and I thought they were leading up to it because it was right about the time her Netflix astronaut show got canceled. And I thought, and because like Cobra Kai, they love to like have the big reveal be like, this new person from the Karate Kid series pops up, right?
Yeah.
And so it would have
Kreese is
been a
back.
perfect opportunity. Right. And like, when Kreese comes back, like, that's like the first big one to do, and you're like, holy.
Yeah.
And, but it's their version of like, I'm starting the Avengers, right?
Right.
And,
Right.
but there was a perfect moment where there was a character who they had kept not showing her mother, and I thought, oh, it's gonna be Hilary Swank, right? And they never did. I don't know what
they probably wanted her. It probably just didn't work out.
I don't know. Like, she was doing a Netflix show. I can't. And like, at that point, this is like season 4 or 5. So at this point, like, the show's really established and cool. So like, I don't know why you wouldn't show up for 3 days to film a scene,
Right?
Because they literally get back like everybody to make.
Yeah, I mean, Elizabeth Shue shows up, right?
Yeah, so I mean, they get back everybody at one point or another.
I will say, watching this movie made me want to watch more Jackie Chan movies.
Oh, they're so good.
He is so good, and I grew up watching him in high school. I went back and like watched all the ones I hadn't seen, and like watch Rumble in the Bronx and The Drunken Master and all that stuff. And so like, you see him in this, and he's getting old, like we talked about. We're getting older, he's getting older, and it just makes me appreciate all the work he's done. And like, the guy's a legend. And go watch
Quick question before we wrap up.
Yeah.
The Jackie Chan scene where he shows up in the kitchen and jumps the kid for fun.
Yeah,
that's
they,
crazy.
Like, have a
That's
little fight.
That's crazy.
Was that really him, do you think? Because the lights are off the whole time.
I thought the lights
Do you
were
think
off
that
for
was
the
really him?
kid, but you're right. I don't know if he moves like that anymore. That's a lot of movement.
Yeah, which I get. He's 71 and he's still in great shape.
Yeah, it's not a slight.
Yeah.
Like, it's just.
I don't think he does move. I don't think he's jumping on top of counters in one.
Yeah, that was my
Yeah.
thought. And that was their way to fact that it wasn't him, which again, no disrespect.
No,
he's
dude.
71.
None.
He can
And
still
you
beat us
see
all
him-
up.
And you see him do little things in the
Yeah.
movie, like would like kick up the coats on the floor, and then and like catch it and fling it off to the side. Like, he still like has his skills, but he's also a 71-year-old man.
Right.
so-
Yeah, no, that's a great point. I really thought it was like, oh, so the kid doesn't know it's him because he's messing with him. But I do.
I mean, that's the plot
but I
point
do
for why the lights are off.
1000%. But I do 1000% think you're right. That is because it's not him. I didn't even think of that.
I don't think it was him. No.
But kudos to him again. His career. He has an amazing martial arts career. His movies are funny. The
I think
action
did he
so
get an
good.
honorary Oscar?
I don't
know.
think
Yeah,
so.
I
Like a
don't
Lifetime
remember
Achievement
that.
Doesn't
Award,
sound
maybe.
right.
I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong.
I don't know.
Somebody's probably giving him one. But
Yeah.
I don't know
I'll
what
give
the
him one.
Oscar
Real
is.
spoilers. Well, will he come accept it?
Happily.
Even
have
on
him-
a Zoom.
Yeah,
we'll,
right.
Yeah, we'll allow that.
Yeah,
so.
it was fun.
Well,
This is good.
Yeah, so anyway, I guess that's it for this one. Let's go around the virtual table and everyone can say where to
This is
find
Joey.
me.
You can follow me on the Twitter at JoeyButts, BUTTS21. Also on all the other social media platforms at the same.
This is Kevin. Follow me on Twitter at KevinRBrackett.
And this time you can find me on Blue Sky or Threads at Tom O'Keefe Jr. or on Facebook at facebook.com/Tom O'Keefe. Find the show online at facebook.com/Royal Spoilers. While you're there, like the page, join the group. Of course, don't forget our Patreon on patreon.com/Real Spoilers, where for $5 a month you get all sorts of bonus content, and we like you extra. So that's it for this one. Thanks for tuning in, and until next time, Fred rejects Susie.
Get ready for a spoiler. Won't say it twice, cause we always